What's up, y'all? When I tell you that I am tired, but we made it. We made it through the MLK March. It was so beautiful. There were so many people there. Met up with some friends and all of that. And this was my baby girl's first march. She's 4 years old, and so we have not gone as a family for a while. So obviously some things were shut down during COVID, and then there was a time when the temperature was just too cold. It was way too cold, and so they canceled the whole thing, did a live stream and all that. This is the first time in a while that my whole family has been able to attend. And this whole 2016 trend is crazy because 10 years ago, I was coming off of a tour stop and I landed here. I drove in actually because we were not flying during that tour, but I drove in just in time to perform at the Martin Luther King Festival, which was crazy. So a lot of nostalgia happening during that time. And so I actually got a few video clips of the march and everything, and just my family walking through with some friends as well. So enjoy those, and then I'm going to share something at the very end. All right, we're here at the MLK March. How y'all feeling?
Cold.
Oh,
It's not.
it's not that
Chilly.
bad. This is one of, if not the largest march in the country. All right, here we go. We got horses and whatnot. This was taking a stretch. What are we doing? What are we doing?
We just caught up with all the people.
Yes, yes. Clock.
Wait.
Going up the hill. Got people behind us. What's up, Janelle? How you doing? How you feeling?
Good.
It's like perfect weather for this. Janelle, you want to pet the snake?
Do these bite?
That's how they think about it, just a tree branch. But that's just I just give them something sturdy to hold on to. And he's cool. Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's all they do is chill. What makes them do like coil up? You know how some of them just stuff.
Nervousness, because they're protecting their head. That's all they're doing. That's what they're correlating.
Here, put your hand away from the mouth.
How do I get the head?
Oh my goodness!
Isn't that cool?
It's going.
So nervousness and nervousness.
It's just because that's their defense mechanism. That's all that they do. So obviously she don't do
I
that.
only touched it. I didn't
She love people.
Come here, you want to help her put her other foot in? Do you like that? All right, now come over here. Does she? Ready? We're going.
Woo!
And then sit back. There we go. All right.
There you go, Dira. Harry! Y'all, it was so amazing to see that many people show up. San Antonio has been the largest MLK march in the country. I don't know how many people showed up this time, but I do know that for years it has been the largest march in the country, and people just show up. The turnout was great, and the weather was amazing. Something interesting happened as we were driving to the march. My wife and I were able to share stories with our daughters about how our dads were integrated into schools that were once segregated, and now they went through desegregation, and so they were integrating. And my dad and her dad actually were a part of integrating into these once segregated schools. And it just reminded me, like, this stuff that we're celebrating, liberty and justice for all, and that being realized through MLK and his efforts and everybody who stood with him and around him, like, that is not ancient history. Like, this happened a generation ago. You know, my dad was feeling the effects of the work that Martin Luther King was doing. And so it's just crazy to think that. And it got me thinking, you know, about what we do in one generation affects the next generation. Specifically, the justice that we fight for in this generation becomes the catalyst for freedom in the next generation. You know, I know sometimes that, you know, as Christians and believers, you know, some of us can tend to shy away from what we call social justice and fighting for justice and fighting for change. And we're just like, man, we just want to keep it all about Jesus and keep it about God. If he's highly lifted up, he'll draw everybody to himself. And we just think that worship is going to be the answer. But I want to challenge that thought process, because I want us to see worship the way that God sees worship. In Amos, you know, the prophet is saying, hey, away with the songs, away with the symbols. I want to see justice flowing like a river. That is God speaking through the prophet Amos. In other words, he's saying, you know what? All your songs and everything does not matter if you are not doing justice for your neighbor, sticking up for your neighbor. You know, we know the famous scripture about, you know, what God requires of us, which is to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before our God. We know in James that true religion, pure and undefiled, is this: to care for the widows and to care for the orphans, and keep ourselves unspotted from the world. Like, there is a practical aspect to worship. So what God sees is worship as not just lifting our hands to God, but he sees it in a holistic way. Like, everything that we do is worship. And worship essentially comes down to those two commands of loving God and loving others, right? And so the way that we love others and we fight for those who are oppressed, like, that is worship in the eyes of God. And if we're not doing that and we're just singing songs, then our worship is incomplete. At best, it is incomplete. At worst, it's nauseating to the Father. This celebration of MLK Day reminds me that my worship has to go deeper than songs. It has to go deeper than just singing to God and hitting the right notes and getting to church on Sunday and having this vertical relationship. It is also about loving other people and doing justice, and that is complete worship to God. And so, yeah, I hope you enjoyed your MLK Day, and I hope that this day actually spurs you to live a whole lifestyle of worship. All right.